Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome into another awesome. Now, I am a little biased, but awesome episode of Facts Not Feelings. Let me know if you can hear us okay, if we're coming through okay. We're into the new software. We've got a few new fun tech things. So anytime I get a new little, it's not as great as getting a new pair of Jordans, but it is pretty exciting when I get new tech, new lights, new little things, fun things here. So make sure if you can drop a comment into the chat area, let me know that we're coming through okay. You can hear us okay. All of that, just make sure everything's coming through okay. It is the joys of newfound technology. So always like to keep on the cutting edge of things, and that also you can test it 1,000 times, and it's the one time you go live that it goes, oh wait, this doesn't come through at all. So let us know. And with that, we're going to kind of get into this a little bit. I've got Gregory Cooper on today, and Greg and I have known each other for a hot minute. I believe, Greg, I think it was back 2010, 2011 was when we met. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it was 2011 when you beat all the boys at softball.
Yeah. And I don't know if you were there. Were you there at the infamous game of Lightning that we played and I did at my high heels?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So this is back when I could actually still play sports. Anyone knows that I have a bit of I like playing sports, and I worked for Dealer Socket back in the day, and we were out in San Clemente, and a game of Lightning got busted out. And I think there may have been, I was one of very few females, and so I'm in my high heels, and I was like, that's not going to stop me. So we busted out Lightning, and I won in my high heels. So I don't want to hear any excuses of people like, well, I can't play. I won in high heels, people. So I don't want to hear any excuses. So yes.
I had all the excuses, like my shirt was too tight, So yeah.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. So we've known each other for a minute. I was the consultant for Dealer Socket. Did you start out in sales and go from there? What was your original?
Oh yeah, lowest man on the totem pole, like as far low as like scheduling appointments and the performance team was actually the first team that I was on, and we were selling Moneymaker and call center.
Oh my gosh,
Moneymaker.
I forgot about Moneymaker.
yeah, mad respect. Before the auto alerts of the world and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, was it Revenue Radar that came after that?
Yeah.
Man, that's just massive deja vu. A little nostalgia over that a little bit there. Yeah. So yes, we definitely cut our teeth back in those days, and yeah, good times for sure. Good times. And yeah, thank you. We're gonna bring this up here real quickly. Thanks for joining. So Greg and I, like I said, we go back a minute, and last week we talked a little, even just how the cross training. Greg went on from starting, as he calls, the lowest man, the totem pole. I don't believe that he was, but that was a humility portion out there. And from there, he actually would go on installs. So as a consultant, we would go and, okay, we're going to go. They bought our software, then we would install it. And then we'd also then say, okay, you're part of our territory. And we continue to make sure that you stand our product and train and yada, yada, yada. He would also then go out and say, hey, let me go on an install so I know what you're doing. Then as consultants, we would say, okay, what's support doing? It was such a great getting to know what each person did. And I thought that was just a kudos to Dealer Socket at the time to say, this is how things are done. I just was a really, really good experience. So from there, you just continue to say, hey, I'm going to tackle this, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, I had as we were talking, you brought up to kind of what you're doing, and it got me thinking a little bit of the best practices that we do with our industry. And just this a couple of days ago, my dentist reached out to me, and I'm scheduling my appointment, and every place is different, and I'm able to do it within a text message, be able to, hey, I want to be able to schedule my appointment, reschedule my appointment, and be able to do that. And then it got me thinking a little bit more. I'm like, hey, as kids, we had foam cups, right? They were awesome, super simple. We had the cups, we have a string, you take a needle or something, poke a hole in there, and we're able to do that. And how much have we really even evolved in the car industry from there? I mean, you think about it, in the car industry, we really can't do any of this. Like, we have a phone, nothing talks to each other. And I know that you can talk on this a whole lot more. So I'm going to kick it over to you, talk a little bit about your company, and then we'll jump into the basics. But I want to set this up just so you can kind of, you're an expert in this area. So I'm going to have you talk about this a little bit. So I'm going to kick it over to you, Greg. Talk away.
Great kickoff, first of all, Brooke, and thanks for having me and allowing me to represent, obviously, SocialMiningAi a little bit. But yeah, the whole purpose was to recreate the culture we once had at Dealer Socket, right? Like the feeling of nostalgia that you had is just one I'm trying to recreate. and that's a big reason why I started something. Another big reason was I just saw so many holes. And even in the best CRM on the market, like, man, what could be done for processes to automate a lot of the monotonous tasks, if you will, that dealers are paying a significant amount of money for people to confirm appointments, reschedule no-shows. A lot of times people are no-call, no-showing their appointments, especially in today's market when it comes to buying their vehicles, right? Because dealers now have a big outreach to try to buy vehicles from the public. And if they aren't, they should be. And so a lot of times these people are just not showing up to their appointments near as much as they should. And I contributed that to the processes of that we're still stuck on the phones. And, there's a statistic. If you text somebody, you're 310% more likely to get the answer you're looking for, a positive answer, a yes, than if you call or email them, right? And so the phone calls are still happening today to confirm appointments, to follow up with no-showed appointments. And I think it's happening because we live in a society where it's just go, 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 go. People plan or tend to want to come in. So they tentatively in their mind say, sure, Saturday at 1, I'll come bring my car by, or I'll come test drive the truck. And they just don't have it in them to proactively look up your phone number on Google, call you, try to get over to the right department to let them know I'm not going to make it in for my set appointment. So there's a long process for a consumer to go through just to say I'm not coming. So they just tend not to even do it.
Oh yeah.
So I felt like there was a huge need there to make that process better. And so that's one of it's just a fraction of our tool, but we've seen such a significant ROI associated with this because dealers that are now using it are seeing a huge, not just a confirmation, but an actual show rate go up significantly. One, their confirmations go up, which statistically, if you confirm your appointments, they're 50% more likely to show. So it's a trickle effect, right? So we start with confirming the appointment, but we also allow somebody to respond and say, hey, I can't make it. And through the automation, the AI, and the scheduling piece that we've created, they can actually just reschedule the appointment right then and there. So your BDC can do what you really want them to do, which is go get new appointments and allow the consumer to kind of confirm and reschedule their appointment accordingly to their schedule, and make it easier for them to actually show up to your business. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and taking it and everything you just said. First of all, 310% stat. I hope everyone held on to that stat a little bit, and how quickly you are to respond to it. And I can tell you right now that when I'm at the grocery store and they ask, hey, do you have an email? And you're not asked that as much anymore, but you still are asked that. I'm like, oh yeah. Here's my Hotmail. Here's my Juno.com email. Like, I'm never going to check. Here's my, we all have those junk emails that we're going to provide to someone that I'm never going to ever check that, but sure, I can have that. And Steve Apicella coming in hardcore. Yes, thank you, Steve. I'm throwing this up here. Customer experience and dealer customer engagements on the smartphone, if done correctly, doesn't diminish the in-person engagement. It propels it before and after the sale by simply removing the long-standing points. By the way, the modern smartphone was released in 2007. Isn't it time? I'm going to read this very slowly so anyone that's listening can hear this. Isn't it time for industry to start leveraging them properly? Mic drop.
I have to say this. Great.
I'm going to link this up here. Steve's a freaking genius. So, Steven, thank you so much.
I have to say this. 97% worldwide, 97% is how many people have a phone. That's more than, statistically, that's more than people have a toothbrush. It's a scary stat, but Steve, great comment. Absolutely right. And going back to the scheduling of it, 92% of people prefer to schedule their appointments or just deal with their appointments on their phone than they do a phone call or an email. And that's just not done in our space yet. Well, but that's why we've created what we have.
Yeah, and I don't want to screw up the stat, but I remember seeing somewhere along the lines, and I'm going to screw it up, but the main gist of it, there are more cell phones than you said too, but more than people that have internet. And if you think about it, like, what?
For sure.
There are more people with cell phones than they have internet. Yeah. So just going back to this and going, so whether it's I can go to, not that we've done a lot of remodeling in our house, like so many home renovations. My brother goes, so Brooke, like, are you like 50 years old? Like, what, you guys are just like retired and like doing home renovations? Not retired, a lot on the docket, but we just keep, like, we just redid our theater. And so the reason I bring this up is that whether it's Home Depot, whether it's Lowe's, whether it's Bed Bath & Beyond, all of this stuff is automatically sent to my phone, and the entire customer experience is all done on my phone. You want to, I'm on a lot of podcasts lately. So any podcast is, hey, you want to reschedule that? No problem. Here's a Calendly link. Go choose what you want to do. None of that's done in the automotive world. And there's so much more to this, which we're going to get into. It's not only the communication portion. It's just not just. There's way more than just the appointment confirmation, which is so damn archaic. Yeah. So archaic and needs to be redone. Insert Gregory and SocialMiningAi. And I also want to point out is that when all of this is done, go back to your last dentist or doctor appointment or whatever other companies out there, because everyone is doing it a better job because all the things talk to each other. Funny concept, I know. Did you at the dealership have to manually enter every single thing? Oh yeah, well, our CRM has a, Brooke, the CRM has a texting program. Great. Tell me how that's working for you. Because each CRM does a different thing, but does it talk to it? Well, my phone company does their own. Right. Great. Does that then sync up with your CRM? Does it sync up with service? Well, service has its own. Well, does service sync up with it? Well, no, it doesn't. Okay. Can you do any of the confirmation? Are you manually entering that? Is it all automated? What about after the service experience? Is any of that automated? So just think about this backwards and kicking it back to you.
Yeah, no, you made a great comment there. And when we talk about CRMs specifically and texting, right? So most really good CRMs were built back in 2002, right? And they've definitely made some enhancements and continue doing different things with UI. But the truth of the matter is they've released technology that was built based on the laws back then and continuing. So the texting software back then was really new. Like DealerSocket, when they first came out with their CRM, didn't have texting within it, right? Didn't even have a mobile app at first, right? So as you continue to evolve, they certainly came out with those things. But just like other CRMs, the texting in our industry needed such a big uplift, right? Such a big uplift that, we have so much to our business, SocialMiningAi does, outside of texting. But because texting was such a huge need, it started taking a mind of its own. And the way that people manage consent in their CRMs and in their texting tools is so archaic. There's been new laws passed, people. So there's implicit consent, implied consent, right? And then explicit, where, replied yes to opt in. And until they reply yes, you can't text them. And now, can we just say reply stop to opt out and assume the sale there, right? So
I'm going to cut you off real quickly. Yeah, how many times do you hit opt out and you still get the freaking text message? That drives me crazy. Sorry. Go ahead. No, continue. Rant done.
That's a great point. So we manage consent very differently. So if a lead comes in, right? So not only can we have some very serious integrations with CRMs because they are incredibly important. And so you don't even have to log into our application to use the appointments with auto feature, where we just see the appointments that you're creating in your CRM and kick off our process and send out invites so that the appointment actually shows up on your calendar. So the consumer doesn't even have to add the event to their calendar. We've coded it in a way to just automatically add to it. But anytime somebody reschedules their appointment, confirms their appointment, we're updating the CRM with those statuses, right? And that's the main goal of the dealership, is just get your appointments confirmed and get them rescheduled if they don't come in. We even follow up with the employee if we notice that 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever the business wants, after the appointment, that the CRM shows the appointment as open rather than showed or no showed. We created something called nudges that will make sure that your reporting is accurate, up to date, and that your CRM activity is done, garbage in, garbage out, right? So we'll send a text automatically to the employee just saying, hey, how did your appointment go with Brooke Furnace? Reply NS for no showed, SH for showed. If they reply NS, we now update the status of that appointment as no showed. But then we follow up with the customer and say, hey, see that you weren't able to make it in with Brooke Furnace today, or with Greg Cooper today at noon at such and such Mazda. Click the link below to reschedule. Anytime a consumer does anything to their appointment, we nudge the employee that's assigned that appointment. So if they confirm the appointment, Brooke, if you're the one that has that appointment scheduled with them, we notify you, hey, the appointment was just confirmed. Or, hey, Brooke, the appointment just got rescheduled for Monday at 2 now, right? So you get notified of that all along the way, but we're updating the CRM. And I bring up the way we manage consent and how drastically different it is, because now, even though we might not be your CRM's texting tool, all of our texts, unlike some big ones out there like Podium and Connect and some other softwares that do provide messaging platforms, those messages get stored in their application. And so if you ever want to leave, you actually have to go into their application. The conversations are not in the CRM. That's where they should be. So we push all of our text messages back into the CRM, right into the notes, so that can still be your main source of communication and where it's all stored. But we manage the consent based on source. So rather than having a blanket statement of consent, hey, everybody should have a reply stop to opt out, or everybody should reply yes to opt in, we can say, okay, this source, this person submitted a lead on Auto Trader, and before they did, they clicked this box on the website that says they'll receive text messaging from your business. Why are you then asking them again to tell you, yes, you can text them? Stop doing that. So we've created such a way to actually say, okay, this person's already opted in, and we track that for you. And you legally have a set time frame on how long you can text them. If they respond to a text that you send them, that clock starts over, right? So you get another 180 days, depending on where you're at in the source. But we track all of that, so we can actually narrow down all the way into the source of where the lead came from. And if they've already consented, no longer will people actually see a spam looking text message from their dealership. And oftentimes, if I see reply yes or reply stop to opt out, I don't even read the text. I don't bother to even see who it's from. I feel it's spam, so it gets treated as such. Our text messages do not. And I think that was a huge need for our industry.
Yes, I'm going to touch on a couple of things before I do. I'm going to, once again, Steven is coming in here with some wise words. And anyone I know we're talking all about it, Steven is coming on the show at a predetermined time in the near future. So, Steven, I'm just going to read this here. So I know everyone if you're not watching live, this is for podcast land. So I'm reading this all because it's later will go on to podcast lands. We all know is our collective mission to help drive more positive revenue and inspire more meaningful customer retention. Is there any other mission? No, I'm going to say no, there's not. Then it is our collective responsibility to unify the dealer customer journey together by connecting the disconnected parts of it. And that is one of, there's like, mine, facts, not feelings, moving the automotive industry forward. That is something I hear from Steven over and over and over again, is connecting the disconnected parts. So if you haven't had a chance, just huge shout out to Steven and Strategic DX and your dealer experience. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing, Steven. It's phenomenal what you're doing with the customer experience. All of this coming together and making it one seamless experience, and whether it's with SocialMiningAi, with Strategic DX and your dealer experience, all of this is just moving the industry forward. Greg, coming back to you for a hot second here. There's one of my gal I know, and we were talking about just if you lose a deal, and it's, you go to the customer and it's, you believe that, oh, we lost a deal because of price. Really, was it price? If you go back and you have someone else ask the customer, what was it? Almost inevitably, it will be, they didn't figure out what my true needs were. So when you say opt out, and I didn't have verbatim what you said down here, but it's really not the reason why they're doing it. You're giving them other reasons why, because it's a different reason every single time. It might just be, what was the real reason? And so going around and figuring out what the true reason and narrowing it down. And then I also want to go back to the fact that I get bombarded with phone calls, as I'm sure everyone does. And if I don't know, it comes up, and I've got all the fun True Caller or RoboKiller or whatever it is, it's going to come up if it's spam, or if it comes up that I have from my prior days with dealership lands or other jobs, that people still call me every single time. And it's like, I haven't worked with that company forever, and I know you're spam. I've told you I don't work for that. So it just goes straight to voicemail. So if I don't know the number and you don't know me, I'm not going to pick it up because you're spam. Now, if you text me, it's a little different because I can see who you are, or if it comes through like a real email. And with all the technology, my text is going to pick up if it's spam or not. Yeah. So knowing your text message is coming through as a true text message, not just some BS that's not legitimate, that speaks so much more to the customer than whatever it's crap, lack of better words. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, 80% of people prefer to text a company, even through support, than wait on hold on the phone. 80%, yet only 35% of businesses across the country, in Canada, 35% are actually equipped to properly communicate via text, right? And I think you said it really well, Brooke, earlier. It's conjumbled. You could have a texting tool for sales, texting tool for service, and a completely different texting tool for bulk messaging. We've taken care of all of that. And I'm sure there's other solutions out there. This is one I know really well, obviously, and have done a lot of research on it, but we built it because we felt there was a huge need for it. And texting, as I said earlier, took a mind of its own, because when we started seeing how much was missing, we just built it. But what originally started was like the online reputation, right? And the social media sites that people don't have the resources to comb through, because there's over 200 million posts daily. So what business can read even 1 million posts a day to find one that makes sense for them to actually engage with and have a conversation with? So go ahead. Did you want to say something?
No, I literally have that as the next bullet point on here. I was like, so it's not just texting and SMS that you all do. And that's what, because I have seen other companies that do texting or SMS. You all automate, which I hadn't quite seen to the extent of the appointment process that you all do. But what got me, what got me when I saw your software, that it just is like, holy crap, the ability to see on a Reddit post, reputation is very, very important. But the ability to see, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I applaud you for doing all this. Do you realize there's so much more that are you looking on Twitter? It is impossible for you all to read everything on Twitter, on Reddit, on Facebook groups, on Facebook on Instagram, on everything. And it's just not, but then, as I like to call it, what are you doing? How do you turn that into actionable items? So go ahead and speak a little bit. How can a dealer use that, and why is that important?
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. I love this conversation here, right? Like this piece is so fruitful. Why? Because I see the posts. And there, like I said, millions and millions and millions of posts daily, but we have real natural language processing, NLP AI. And now we have 3 fully awarded patents, not one, but now we have 3 that have been fully awarded around the way that we're looking at posts and what we can turn those, like you said, those posts into actionable items, right? And turn them into opportunities to do business. So what we saw and what we were seeing after combing through these millions of posts and using AI is we'd find purchase intent. And so we narrowed our posts down to just sources that have to do with automotive. And so there's all these, not just Reddit, right? And most dealers don't even know what Reddit is, let's be honest. And a lot of people are taking to Reddit to talk about the business that they're doing, right? So people are going onto Reddit, they're going onto Facebook community groups, and they're talking about their local businesses. Because what we've seen, and there's social management or reputation management platforms out there that have put a Band-Aid on something that really needs a tourniquet by helping you with Google reviews, right? And Facebook reviews, maybe even a little bit of Dealerator. But what I've seen more and more, people are no longer trusting, 4 or 5-star reviews because they feel like it's a fixed system. But they're going to their Facebook community groups, their neighborhood watch groups, their Reddit forums that they trust, or their Twitter. They're going on there and either talking about an experience that they had with the business, or asking questions about a business, or, hey, I'm looking to buy an F-150, like all just insane opportunities for dealers to actually engage with. And no dealer, really no business, but we're talking automotive, so no dealer has the resources to find the posts in their area, because Reddit is worldwide, that makes sense for them to follow up with. And so one, we help with a lot of like real social listening, where we can tell you anytime your business is mentioned on any of these platforms. So not only can we solicit a review after an experience, but you look at some of the other platforms that look at sold customers or service customers and then send out a text asking for a review. So we do that, right? But more important than that, in my opinion, is one, being able to manage the responses to those reviews on one dashboard, because now you have so many of them. But what about all the sources that are not for, like, they're not the traditional place for you to go and put a 4 or 5-star rating on a business, or a 1-star rating on a business? You want to know if you're getting mentioned on Twitter, on Reddit, and Facebook. So we can tell you that. We really help you know what your social presence looks like. But then what we saw on all these other sources, where people go there to ask questions about buying cars, leasing vehicles. Should I buy or lease? Hey, my lease is coming due. Should I buy it out, or should I sell it? Like, should I trade it in? So, so what we found is literally hundreds of thousands of opportunities to sell cars well before these people submit leads to your dealership. But these people are usually highly qualified candidates because they do their research, right? And they're asking really good questions. And then, not to mention, with the inventory shortage today, people are now selling their own cars more than not. And so dealers need a way to combat the Carvanas, the Vrooms, like the ones that have the CarMaxes, like that have these great processes to source vehicles from the public. And so what we've done is we can see all these posts. We give you a dashboard to actually respond to the ones that make sense, like people shopping for an electric vehicle that they can now order from your dealership. But we also can help you see anytime that you're mentioned. And then we can actually create a texting campaign for all those private party listings even. So anybody that's listing their vehicle for sale on Craigslist, on Facebook Marketplace, these people should be reached out to, and it's really a numbers game with them. So through our AI and the way that we can automate things, we can even start sending out text to pre-filters that you create and say, okay, these are the type of vehicles that I want to buy. As soon as one of these vehicles hit this platform in my area, I want you to send out this text. We can even provide, because we have a full scheduling capability, we can even provide a link to allow somebody to click on to schedule an appointment to come get their cash, right? Like whatever you want to say on your text when it comes to buying those private party listings. We can facilitate all of that. And so as soon as somebody responds or creates an appointment, we notify the business or the dealer to then engage with them through our engagements platform. So we're solving a lot of needs there, right? And I know I just spit up a whole lot, but reputation management, sourcing vehicles from the public, right? Helping with inventory. But those are a lot of really big needs right now.
That's awesome. And while you're talking, Ryan, I know that you're coming on here. Get with me after. I want to see your tool, your system with call team 6. I have not seen it, so I would love to see it. If you don't have my information, shoot me a DM in LinkedIn. Let's connect up. I'm seeing them come through. I'd love to see it. I don't know, Greg, are you familiar with call team 6?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay. Ryan, get with me after if you wouldn't mind. I've got like I think a 30-minute break before my next like 3-hour meeting. So get with me after. So I definitely want to see it. I'm seeing your message come through. So thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. And yeah, definitely love to see it, dude. It's at the end of the day, there are so many amazing companies and so many amazing people in this industry. And to watch us all move this industry forward, man, it's just, I just love it. I love it. It's each day is a new day. And I love when my phone rings. Well, let me take it back. I don't love when my phone rings all the time, but I love when it rings. I see that I just hear all these amazing people and all these great companies and the brilliant minds in our industry. So it's great. It's awesome. So, all right. So your tool is doing all these amazing things. That's great. It's awesome. Where do you want to see everything going in the next 5 years?
Oh, goodness. Where I see it going, where I want to see it going, right?
Yeah.
are two different things. But I think, there's different categories here, right? So CRM, I think needs some serious help in automotive. And I think there are some companies that are coming out with some really cool stuff with CRM. And automating a lot of the monotonous tasks must happen because we're spending too much time, effort, and money on manual labor, if you will, to do these things that your customers don't even want to do that way. They want to do it automatically, right? And the technology is there to allow it. So we should help facilitate that, and we can. I think the social, online and social presence and your reputation management, where I see that going, I see it steering away from Google reviews and Facebook reviews. That will always maybe be the foundation, but more and more people are going to be taking to the Twitters and the Reddits and the Facebook community groups to talk about businesses. And with software being able to help you engage in those conversations and now be part of them, not just aware of them, I see that we need to go that direction. Who knows, with inventory, sourcing vehicles from the public, I think every dealer should be having a game plan around that. What I think happens today is a lot of dealers don't pay their people to source vehicles from the public well, so they're not really spending a lot of time doing so. And so, if you can come up with something that's automating with that, and trying to reach out to those that are serious about selling their car, do you want to trade it? Do you have a lien on it? Like, those type of questions, get them answered and bring them further down the funnel. But, conversations, I think email's dead. I think phone calls dying, and I think texting is absolutely showing statistically that it's the way to communicate, especially as a first touch point, and monotonous tasks.
Yeah, if we could have everything talk, man, it's something I know that I've been screaming from rooftops, and anyone that knows me is like, just for the love, can we just have everything that talks? That would be so nice if everything would just talk. And it's not just with texting, it's with everything. Yeah. Steve and I were just on a fixed ops roundtable that's going to be airing in September. And he talks about it, I talk, it's just like, it doesn't matter if it's service, if it's fixed ops, if it's finance, if it's BDC, and just humans in general, we all just need to be able to talk, just talk. So it's
the other thing is like the appointments with service, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a huge need.
Yes.
To help, right? Not just sales, right? Because you usually have more appointments with service. So doing the same exact thing isn't just for sales and confirming appointments of sales, but service as well. That's a huge focus of ours. Needs to be a huge focus for every dealer. Service is what keeps the lights on, right? And dealers know that.
Or they should.
Yeah,
they should. But, you'd be surprised how many don't.
Yeah, it's scary. Recalls, though, right? A lot of dealers don't spend a lot of time on recalls.
Oh
And
yeah, it's
I
crazy.
honestly, when I started looking further into it, I still get mail talking about a recall on a vehicle that I either own or don't own anymore. And if I do, great. I would love to go take my car in to get this done, but now I have to proactively find the dealer, call them, schedule the appointment. What you should be doing is contacting somebody, that you might know, to help you text these recall. You can download a list of all your recalls, text these people, and allow them to schedule those appointments. And I promise you will not have an open service lane for ever. You'll always be busy. So I think dealers really should start focusing on recalls and making it easy for everybody that has a recall to schedule an appointment with you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Well, Greg, thank you so much for all this. It's just like a wealth of knowledge, and for anyone, we're gonna jump into lightning rounds here, so we'll get into how we can get a hold of you. I'm gonna actually throw it up here, just so I'm not gonna throw up, but I'm gonna throw it up there. And if I did, that'd be a really good scene on live camera right now. But so yeah, thank you so much. And I mean, so much knowledge. And if if you're texting, that's great. There is a better way. So definitely, yeah, just thank you so much. So how can our listeners follow you? I know I've got for those that are watching, it's up on the screen right now. For those that are listening, how can our listeners find you, follow you, connect with you?
Oh yeah. So our website, socialminingai.com, right? My email is cooper@socialminingai.com. But those are absolutely the best ways to reach out to me. I'm happy to, I respond to every single email. We have a Facebook page, of course, right? Social Mining AI, LinkedIn as well. Pretty easy to find and locate us. So I don't think they'll have a problem. Happy to give my cell phone number out too. So, they can contact me. Should I go ahead and list it right now? My cell phone number.
That's up to you. That's totally up to you.
All right. I'm happy to. So yeah, my cell phone number, they can reach me at is 949-444-3124. Any questions, comments, feedback, happy to have conversations about how to make things better for all of us. I really think that the AI and where things are going, real quick before we get into the lightning round, there's just so many posts and untapped potential on all these forums that it's absolutely insane. Some of these people, like most of these people that are posting, are willingly saying, hey, I got a 700 credit score. I drive 60 miles a day on average. This is how much budget I've got. What car should I buy? Right. And that's where they're going to get feedback and ask questions. And so if you've got something that can, if you're not going to use a tool, get your internet manager, get your BDC to start looking on Reddit, start looking on forums with, enthusiast sites, if you will, because you will find business. You will find people that you should be reaching out to.
Well, I think it was on your website. You've got a couple of examples of just, hey, I'm looking to sell. Well, if you're looking to, I'm in the market to sell. Right now everyone, prices are a little crazy right now for good and bad, whatever. And I'm trying to sell my 1999 Toyota Coma or whatever it may be. Well, then great. Then have your used car director. Hey, this is someone trying to sell this, or I'm looking for a 2021 blah blah blah. Great. Fantastic. Here's this, there you go. Now I understand that the evergreens of Google's and Facebook and sometimes Yelps, which is not always great in the automotive industry. But from a standpoint of those, especially from an OEM standpoint, those are always going to be a staple because the OEM is always going to put, I won't say never say never. The OEM historically will always push those, and they are the behemoths. And from an SEO standpoint, you're always going to have those. When it comes to, hey, they're looking for this, and now the consumer is willingly saying, hey, I'm looking here and I want this or I need this. The information can now be served up to you. You're not going to, and you can go look for that, but when the information is served up to you on a silver platter, and it's just another tool in your tool belt. All that being said, if you're not going to use it, then that's a whole other thing. But if you're willing to go look for this and it gets served up to you, and then you can actually, hey, here's what I have. I can do something with this. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's jump into these lightning round questions. Let's jump in here. All right. What is your favorite thing to do outside of work? What are some favorite hobbies of yours?
Oh goodness, Brooke, since starting a company, I don't do anything. I just,
Another feeling.
yeah, I would, if I had to choose something, I'd say being a father. It might be cliche, but I've got three little boys, two, 5 and 6. And it's all consuming. So those of you that have children absolutely know it. I have very little time to kind of go do hobbies anymore. But I would say, being a father would probably be it.
Okay. Cool. I'll take it. All right. Favorite vacation spot.
You know what? It's something about Hawaii,
Oh, I love there.
the islands in general. I swear that there's something about just the vibe there. When I get there, I just feel so like centered. And yeah, I do. The people that I've come in contact with there, I'm a bigger guy, 6 foot, 6'5" and 320 pounds. So I fit in well. Don't, but no, my favorite spot has always been the islands.
That's it. I love Hawaii. There's, like you said, I'm very much a beach person, but just you get there and it's just everything's right in the world. It's
Yeah.
like first time I was there, I was in Kauai, and and every island's so different. Kauai is just very quiet and it's great. It's not so touristy. And then Maui's like a great in between. And those two, I'd say those two are my two favorite islands. I love them both though. They're both very special. Got a little special place in my heart. So I hear you on that one.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me too.
Yeah. Okay. So biggest thing, and it can be in work, in business, or it can be in your personal life. What is something that you're constantly having to distinguish facts from feelings, and like I said, either in business or it can be personal life.
Yeah. Facts versus feelings. I could get really deep right now. I'll keep it surface level for the lack of time. No, I've gone through a lot of medical things in my past, right? I've had cancer. When I was working at Dealer Socket, I came home from one of the NADAs, and just about had a 45-minute seizure and didn't wake up for several days in the ICU. So facts versus feelings there. I mean, I personally need, like, I'm like a flamingo. I'll put my head in the sand, like don't even look at it, right? Like, I'm breathing today, so don't worry about it. So I personally, I need to do a little bit better job dealing with facts rather than feelings there. But professionally, the whole texting thing is something that I've been voicing now since building this, and the AI and how many sources that are untapped for opportunities. They're untraditional. So there's two things there, right? A lot of dealers still stick with their auto trader, cars.coms, and we don't want to be a lead provider. It just so happens that our AI finds incredible opportunities for you. And so I think that these lead sources, albeit untraditional, are more valuable. And then the texting, though, just the phone calls and emails are dead. CRMs, and most companies hate hearing that because they don't do the texting part very well. But if you look at the facts, statistics will show you you have 130% more likelihood of somebody opening your text than you do an email, and 98% response rate versus an 18% response rate. So the facts there versus feelings is probably a big one.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It's yeah. Agreed. Yes, agreed. Okay. All right. So, what do you love most about this industry?
The opportunity it's provided me, right?
Okay.
I would just say I've taken the most out of the opportunities that have been there, right? Just worked really hard, but just the fact that if you don't know, like when I first got into it, I wasn't a good old boy. My dad didn't own a dealership, right? But I was able to learn a lot quickly and be valuable with the knowledge that I was retaining and spit out. So, through that, and then just working really hard, I now have started my own software company that is solely based in automotive. So I love the opportunities that it's provided me and my family.
Yeah, there are so many opportunities, and I think that a lot of times that gets overlooked or it's not even seen. So there's so many opportunities and so much growth, and yeah. All right, so let's round it out with, what is your favorite car?
Ha! So I would say the old Ford Bronco. I used to be a Jeep guy. I had a CJ7 that I had rebuilt.
Nice.
Helped rebuild in high school so I could have one when I turned 16 to drive. But man, I love the old Bronco.
Okay, nice. That's a good.
Not the Bronco too, just the Ford Bronco, top off, 4-wheel driving.
Nice. So you're not so much a fan of the new one.
The new one's okay, right? But the old one.
No, it's a classic. It's a classic. I get it. Nice. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, Gregory, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Everyone, thank you for joining. Thank you for being a part of it. Ryan, I will look for your message. If I don't get back to you, I've got to hop on another call here, and then I'm tied up for the next pretty much the rest of the evening. So if I don't get back to you today, I will get back to you next week, I promise. So everyone, thank you so much. So appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as always, find a way to serve today. Find a way to help your fellow neighbor, your coworker. I don't care if it's just a kind smile. Find a way to serve someone today. And with that, everyone, we will see you all next week. Gregory, thank you again. And everyone, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro.